Hello everyone, my name is Daily Manhwas and welcome to another video. In this video I will be recapping this manhwa called The Golden Lion King. I already made a part 1 before. If you already saw the part 1, you can skip to this minute. This story begins on the Lion Mountain, where some beasts and a girl were running away. They were being chased by some soldiers. Seeing that they were walking away, one of the soldiers decided to shoot the girl. The shot attracts a mutant boar beast. The boar was furious because the shot had hit its tusk. The beast begins to charge towards them. One of the soldiers, seeing that the normal weapons did not do much damage, pulls out a missile launcher and shoots at the beast, but the beast manages to dodge it at the last second. Seeing this, the soldier prepares for another attack when suddenly a roar is heard from the top of the mountain. The one who had roared was the Golden Lion King. The soldiers are amazed by his beauty and the gold, so they decide to attack to take the gold. The Lion King leaps, dodging the bullets, and quickly eliminates a soldier. The soldier with the missile launcher attacks him, but the Lion King plugs his cannon, causing the explosion to occur inside the cannon. He had eliminated all the soldiers. He was too strong and could not control his strength. His name was Liu Fan, and he was an orphan, but he managed to graduate from college and started to become a proud worker. But he had accidentally crossed from planet Earth to where the spirit was revived and was reborn as a golden lion, who was considered a magical beast. And the system of this world made him stronger and stronger for whatever he did. The boar, seeing the strength of King Lion, runs away, and the system gives him another point. The king wonders where was the girl the soldiers were chasing. The girl had fallen into the beast tide because of the explosion. The Lion King approaches the girl and sees that she had an unusual feeling as she was dead, but her body was still filled with aura. He uses his power and pulls a magic powder out of his mouth, and little by little, the girl's spirit begins to come to life. The night falls, and the Lion King goes to the Cave of the Runes, where the girl begins to cry because she had lost her body. The Lion King reassures her and tells her that she only had to be reincarnated, when suddenly he gets a warning from the system telling him that he had picked up a ghost and had to link it as soon as possible. This was the first time he had received a warning from the system telling him something so direct. He had to plan carefully to complete his new mission. When suddenly a candle demon named Ziokeo comes out, she comforts the girl and tells her that the king had no bad intentions, he was just a little insensitive to feelings. The Lion King had left his spiritual energy in her soul so that she could keep her soul. Thanks to the king's spiritual energy, she had managed to transform into a demon. To become a demon, there were 2 conditions. The first was the special constitution, and the second was the obsession of the heart. Ziokeo asks her why the soldiers were chasing her before. She is Su Ling from Mang village at the foot of Lion King Mountain, and since the revival of spiritual energy, the people of her village had been disappearing one after another, leaving only 20 people. And 2 days ago, a group of soldiers interrupted in their village and ordered everyone to advance into the forest. One of the villagers says he didn't want to go in because his son had disappeared in that forest. But the soldier doesn't listen to him and hits him, saying that if he didn't do it, he was going to kill him himself. The old man, seeing that he had no choice, decides to go. A little further into the forest, the old man begins to disappear. The soldiers force all the villagers into the forest. Each of them disappears after walking in the dark fog. And finally, it was Su Ling's turn. When she entered the fog, she began to move unconsciously in one direction. Then he saw his parents, but when she woke up again, her parents had disappeared. She had fallen into a well, and a flower had guided her away from the soldiers. She could not destroy the coffin that the soldiers were looking for, so she decided to eat the flower. After eating the flower, her body became very light, and her eyes could see clearly at night. Soldiers later found the coffin and removed it using a helicopter. One of the superiors, seeing that the flower was not there, told the soldiers that he was not going to pay them until they found the flower. Then the group of soldiers began to chase her, and that's how she arrived at the Lion King's mountain. The Lion King now understands why she had a special constitution. She was seeking revenge. The coffin and the flower were a rare treasure. After the first revival of spiritual energy, various forces became anxious and started to move, and the second revival was going to happen sooner or later. As the system had asked him to link her, he asked Su Ling if she wanted to become a Chang ghost under his command. Su Ling accepts, and as a reward, the system gives him a fragment of Zhang body that could be exchanged for a Yang body. Seeing this, the Lion King was happy because finally there was a chance that he could regain his human body. Since he was reborn as the Golden Lion, the system had only made him stronger no matter what he did. But since he became the Demon King of Mount Lion, this kind of thing never happened to him. This was the first time the system had sent him a task with a reward, a mysterious opportunity with a mysterious reward. If Yang's fragment could return his body, it was an opportunity he could not miss. He asked Su Ling if she was seeking revenge against those people. She did not want to cause trouble for the king. All her relatives were dead, and she does not want their corpses exposed. The king thinks she was a child, but she had quite a heavy mind. With his breath, he creates a clone to protect her since he could not leave the Lion Mountain. And with her breath, he creates a dagger with his spirit and gives it to Su Ling. She doesn't know how to thank him for all that the king has done for her, and she decides to leave, and Xiaokao decides to accompany her to light the way. As they make their way to where the fog was, the Lion King clone begins to feel a very strong ghostly aura. As they walk a little further, they come across many corpses, and among the corpses was the corpse of Grandfather Lai. All of them were killed by the fog. The king's clone uses his power and tells Su Ling that he had purified the villagers' souls and allowed them to re-enter reincarnation. But the bodies of Su Ling's parents were still missing, so they decided to keep searching. But the king's clone stops them, as he had smelled the odor of the gunpowder the soldiers were carrying. Those soldiers were at the site of the coffin and the flower. The soldiers, seeing that Su Ling did not appear, begin to destroy the corpses of her parents. Su Ling gets angry and prepares to attack them, but the king's clone stops her and tells her that there was someone else. When suddenly Lady Mei Yun appears, the soldiers tell her that they were still looking for Su Ling and the flower. Mei Yun did not care about the flower, she only cared about the sarcophagus. 49 ghosts had died in vain after 81 years in the sarcophagus and had slowly precipitated into the soul floor of 3 lives. In the cave, the Lion King gets another point because his clone had discovered the soul floor of 3 lives. It was the first time the demonic knowledge property had been activated, and he could now clearly see his veins. He turns and sees that he could also see the veins of the other creatures. Although the system only made him stronger no matter what he did, this was the first time he had awakened such a special ability. He could even see spiritual energy surging from the veins of the earth. All the energy came from a specific point. Back in the ruins of the sarcophagus, Mei Yun comes out of the hole and kills the soldiers so that no one would know about the 3 soul lands. She cuts herself and drops her blood on the stone in the sarcophagus. She was the one who came up with the idea of using the villagers to scout the road so that the soldiers would not have been killed. Hearing this, Su Ling angrily prepares to attack her. But Mei Yun senses the attack and gets Su Ling to stop attacking. The king's clone and Xiaokao were surprised as she was able to see ghosts. Su Ling had unconsciously dodged the attack, but she plucked up courage because she was now a ghost and wasn't afraid of being cut. Mei Yun, seeing that no one was there, takes out a pair of glasses and puts them on. And now she is able to see Su Ling. Su Ling angrily tells her that she wanted to avenge her parents' death. But Mei Yun doesn't remember her and doesn't remember killing her parents either. She tells her that she doesn't remember stepping on ants and killing them. Su Ling angrily prepares to attack her again. The king's clone was surprised as she was not surprised or scared after seeing Su Ling, and thinks that this was not the first time she was dealing with a ghost. She had a special way of fighting ghosts. The clone senses that something bad is going to happen. He uses his power and lures Su Ling, causing her to dodge the attack at the last second. Su Ling does not know how she was able to hurt her if she was a ghost. Mei Yun had a crimson knife, which was a special weapon used against ghosts. Su Ling had to avoid the long knife and attack it with a surprise attack from a blind spot. The Clone King does not intervene as he wanted Su Ling to take revenge with her own hands. Mei Yun attacks again, but Su Ling dodges her attack, and using her blind spot, she manages to finish Mei Yun off. The Lion King clone comes to the conclusion that her bracelet was a magic weapon that was able to sense the killer aura, and the glasses allowed her to see ghosts. The king's clone helped Su Ling by using his murderous aura to disturb her perception. When suddenly, Mei Yun's body rises again. She resurrects and attacks Su Ling again. Her knife was a special weapon for attacking ghosts, and both the king and the little candle were in the state of soul doppelganger. Su Ling couldn't allow her to attack them. Su Ling manages to block the blow and counterattacks, cutting Mei Yun's arm. However, suddenly, tentacles start to emerge from the severed arm, and it reattaches itself to Mei Yun's body. She was a person who was dead, but her doppelganger could survive even if the original body had died. This was the perfect opportunity to test the new mastery of the Lion King. Mei Yun's breath came from the soul ground of 3 lives. She had previously dripped her blood on the soul ground. Mei Yun attacks Su Ling again, but now her attack range had increased. As a disadvantage, her recovery speed was slower. Seizing the opportunity, Su Ling approaches her and attacks several times, managing to cut Mei Yun's body in half. From the split body, more tentacles emerge and trap Su Ling. The clone of the king does not want to intervene as it is a doppelganger, and if it gets damaged in combat, it will be terrible for his body. The tentacles start attacking Su Ling slowly, but the Lion King decides to intervene using the fragment of the young body. He tells them to cover their ears and hold their breath. With a powerful roar, he attacks the doppelganger of Mei Yun and manages to kill her by vanishing her body. He approaches and picks up Mei Yun's knife, and his level rises several times. Obtaining the knife expands his sword attributes. He touches his neck and feels that he has hair. The system was cheating as there was a level to restore the human body. What he wanted the most was to change his ghostly appearance. Xiaokao falls in love with the new body of the Lion King. he levels up his demonic consciousness by inhaling the soul ground of 3 lives. Now, he could see the aura floating in the air, and he becomes stronger every time he breathes. Su Ling thanks him for saving her, but this revenge was not over yet. They still had to discover what the coffin of the 3 lives soul was hiding. So, he decides to continue investigating to help Su Ling seek revenge. The sun starts to rise, and Xiao hides in his clothes, and Su Ling does the same. But the Lion King tells her she can't do that anymore because she is too big, and being a ghost she can possess a body. He suggests possessing Mei Yun's body instead. At first, she doesn't want to, as Mei Yun's body is too ugly for her. However, realizing it's a matter of life or death, she decides to possess Mei Yun's body. The Lion King tells her that from now on, if they encounter a mercenary, she must pretend to be Mei Yun. After walking for a while, they arrive at an open area where a helicopter was waiting for them. When they reach the helicopter, the soldiers ask who the hooded guy is. Su Ling orders them not to ask any more questions about him. As they board the helicopter, the system awards another point to him. After flying for a while, the pilot tells Su Ling that they have arrived in Xiling City. At the entrance, there are the bodies of giant beasts, and among the corpses are people searching for resources or the beast's core. Unlike the Lion Rock, which was flourishing, the resurgence of aura caused a great commotion in the human city. The city was in an apocalyptic state. After a few minutes, they reach the city, where Su Ling thanks the pilot for his work and swiftly takes down the soldiers with a quick blow. It was a fairly powerful group, and the soldiers' camp was quite large, but the Lion King could reduce it to ashes with a single breath if he wanted to. However, for now, he just wants to play with them a bit. They enter the tower and defeat the guards, reaching the place where the clues they were looking for were hidden. The Lion King activates his divine consciousness and realizes they are not the only ones who broke in. A woman with a gun is hiding behind the door. The king senses the danger and decides to go first. As he opens the door, the girl shoots him with her pistol. The bullet hits the Lion King directly in the chest. Su Ling, furious, prepares to attack the girl, but the Lion King stops her, telling her that he is fine. It was a bullet covered in aura, and the girl is surprised to see that it didn't harm him. She wonders if he is unawakened. The girl shoots several more times. All the bullets hit the Lion King without damaging him. He quickly breaks her pistol with a finger. He then captures her and warns her not to force him to take action since he doesn't trust his power control. The girl responds that he can kill her if he wants. The king realizes that she is not a member of the Kang Sheng group, so he asks her what she is doing here. She reveals that the Kang Sheng group illegally stole her company's development project, and she came here to find evidence. The king notices she is hiding a paper in her shirt, and upon taking it out, he sees that it is a map. The first target of the group is the Lion Rock. Suddenly, the leaders of the headquarters arrive. They had come to receive the delivery at night and were using candles for illumination. The sarcophagus was sensitive to intense light, and candles were the limit. The clone of the king and the girls decide to continue observing to find out where they would move the sarcophagus. Luo Yi, a Class B awakened, tells Mei Fox that he was going to ask someone to take away the sarcophagus, but Mei Fox tasks Wu Gang, a strong man, to carry the sarcophagus. The clone of the king is surprised to see Wu Gang lifting the sarcophagus. Mei Fox realizes that someone is watching them. She attacks the clone of the king, but just before her attack lands, he manages to stop it. She was unawakened too, as she could sense his presence. Luo Yi heads towards the clone of the king to attack him, starting with a kick, but the Lion King quickly dodges. After seeing that he had evaded the strike, Luo Yi launches a flurry of blows. By dodging the attacks, the clone of the Lion King was increasing his resistance. Luo Yi was curious to know who was hiding beneath the cloak. With a quick move, he removes the cloak from the clone of the king. Upon seeing the true face of the king, he understands why he had such good resistance and quick reflexes. Mei Fox is captivated by his appearance. Luo Yi activates his ability, Divine Speed, and with an instant strike, manages to hit the king. However, upon striking, his leg bones break due to the king's hard body. By defeating an awakened, he levels up several times. Mei Fox is astonished as he had defeated Luo Yi, a Class B awakened, so effortlessly. Upon seeing Luo Yi being defeated, Wu Gang prepares to attack the Lion King. Using his incredible strength, he throws the sarcophagus towards the Lion King. But in an instant, the Lion King catches the sarcophagus and keeps it safe. He becomes angry with Wu Gang for throwing such a precious treasure. Wu Gang activates his ability, Liberation, and his muscular body becomes even more muscular. He prepares to attack with a powerful blow, but Su Ling attacks him with her dagger. The blade gets stuck in his chest, as his muscles were so strong that no one could harm him. With a shove, he defeats Su Ling. The Lion King approaches him and tells him that he had a lot of confidence in his muscles but had forgotten to exercise his brain. And with a single finger, the Lion King defeats Wu Gang. May Fox is disappointed with his companions, but she was different from them. She was a little girl who had lost her home and wandered the streets. However, gradually, she rose to the position of CEO and secretary of the group thanks to her brilliant mind. She takes off her cloak and reveals her seductive attire. She activates her ability and starts to seduce the Lion King. Her ability is effective with men and beasts. It affects all males. When under her control, men become obedient slaves. The Lion King is confused by her gestures. Her ability doesn't seem to work on him, so she decides to use her ability to spy on him and find out what the Lion King is hiding. The Lion King hadn't lost his yang essence. His body was pure yang, which is why the enchantments didn't affect him. May Fox uses all her strength and employs her ultimate charm, trying to seduce him. The king loses consciousness and starts releasing his power. Su Ling, upon seeing that the Lion King was losing control, tries to help him. However, the Lion King quickly pushes her aside with a furious look and starts advancing towards May Fox. The Lion King's lust was the purest. She couldn't control him. She attempts to regain her composure, but the level of power overwhelms her. Her end was near. The Lion King's lust is being consumed by May Fox's lust. All things have a fire in their hearts, and the fire in the heart is composed of lust and karma. These two types of heart fires are extremely dangerous, so it's necessary to suppress and reconcile the practitioner's innate aura. May Fox disturbed the Lion King's mental peace, awakening his lust. Now the Lion King is acting solely on instinct. If they don't do something, his lust will consume him until death. The Lion King is about to kill May Fox. Zio-Ko is the result of the Lion King's absorption of demonic energy. He has a body of pure yang energy. His primal yang energy has not been released, and no one can withstand his lust. Zio-Ko is the incarnation of the divine flame, capable of merging with the ghostly fire, the fire of the 6 guardian gods, the fire of triple immersion, and the fire of true contemplation. Any flame in this world can be compatible with Zio-Ko. She approaches the Lion King and uses her ability called Return of the Fire Sect. She begins to absorb the Lion King's lust, and after a while, she absorbs all of his lust. May Fox is surprised she survived and believes the Lion King was too dangerous, as she barely escaped being burnt. Su Ling takes out her dagger and ensures that May Fox won't escape. The Lion King wakes up exhausted and weak, having gained a lot of stat points. By expanding his elemental fire, he gains a new ability, the Golden Fire Heart Technique. Zio-Ko's color has changed due to devouring the Lion King's lust. He approaches May Fox and asks her about the use of the 3 Lives Soul Coffin. May Fox responds that the coffin contains ancient secrets. When one lies in it, they can receive an inheritance in an illusory world and obtain reincarnation. However, if the user gets lost in the illusion realm, their soul will disappear and their body will turn to dust. The Lion King wonders if it could help him obtain a young body, but the coffin carries great risks. Su Ling leaves May Fox's body and tells the Lion King that she wants to try. The Lion King refuses, deeming it too dangerous, but suddenly receives a message saying that the success probability for the soul coffin trial is 30%. Su Ling insists because her original life was the Lion King's. Upon seeing her determination, the Lion King decides to let her use the coffin. He uses his ability, Sacred Fire Heart Flame, and starts manifesting his soul's fire. However, he wants to pull her back when his inner fire begins to show signs of disappearance. Su Ling lies down in the coffin and is teleported back to her village before the soldiers arrived. Her parents are alive and call her to come and eat. She can't help but shed tears at seeing her parents alive again, but she knows she can't be deceived, it's just an illusion. She goes inside with her parents to take a look and starts eating with them, happy once more. For the moment, Su Ling's vital fire is stable, but she must overcome the obstacle. Inside the coffin, several years have passed, and it's the day of Su Ling's wedding. The sun is about to rise, and if Su Ling doesn't awaken her spirit, it will be lost forever. Su Ling is struggling, even though the fire of life continues to burn. Resisting against the sarcophagus is too difficult. The Lion King decides to bring Su Ling back as there's very little time left before the sunrise. Su Ling starts to see the figure of the Lion King and begins to awake. As she was getting up, the sun was rising. In the end, she manages to get out before the sun fully rises. The Lion King welcomes her, and Su Ling, with tears, thanks him. He has completed the connection mission and become a loyal companion of the lion, improving his awakening ability. He has obtained the illusion of the 3 lives and the inheritance of the reunion spell. The Lion King didn't expect to receive such rewards. May Fox is moved to see them reunited and decides to leave first since she has nothing else to do. Zio-Ko grabs her by the ear and asks the Lion King about his plans for her. She had provoked his lust, allowing him to acquire the Sacred Fire Technique, and she could help him improve his skills. He takes May Fox by the arm and brings her along until his Sacred Fire Technique is fully perfected. Everyone leaves the building, and the Lion King sets it on fire as their target was the Lion Mountain. Suddenly, the system warns him that the second resurgence of spiritual energy is about to begin. On the Lion Mountain, some plants and animals start to receive the second resurgence of spiritual aura. Finally, the time has come, and the system assigned him the task to expand the territory. He must expand the size of the mountain to support the growing flow of spiritual energy. He is impressed because the system cannot cheat intentionally, and there are no restrictions. Suddenly, the system warns him that if he doesn't expand his territory within the established time frame, his body will collapse due to the inability to withstand the excess spiritual energy, resulting in his death. The Lion King had never confirmed the extent of the Lion Mountain, so he decides to activate his spirit perception to confirm it, as this is the perfect moment to test his new abilities. He uses his ability called Spirit Perception and is amazed to see that he can glimpse the flow of spiritual energy throughout the entire mountain, thanks to reaching level 3 of Spirit Perception. He notices that his golden fruit tree has fallen, and he is confused as the armadillo was supposed to guard it. But upon searching further, he realizes that the armadillo is unconscious on the ground. Seeing this, he gets angry because the culprit not only caused harm to his territory but also dared to hurt his companions. The culprit left a trace of spiritual energy, and if he follows the trace, he can find them. The Lion King is angry because the culprit had knocked down his golden fruit tree, which was the root of the Lion Mountain. The golden fruit tree blooms every 10 years, and by eating a golden fruit, one obtains 30 years of demonic power. The Lion King summons all his subordinates, including the chatty bird captain, the green snake Xia King, the white fox Ziyu, and the giant bear Xingji. When they reach the armadillo, they realize he is severely injured but still alive. Upon seeing the Lion King, the centipede starts to roar. The Lion King gets angry and prepares to use his lion's roar of Hidong. But Xia King stops him and tells him that there is no need for him to get personally involved in such trivial matters. She attacks the centipede, entwining it with her body. The armadillo apologizes to the king for not taking good care of the golden fruit tree. The centipede was originally a worm that burrowed beneath the golden fruit tree. However, this time, with the revitalization of the spiritual aura, it started to mutate suddenly. Still, its wisdom didn't awaken, turning it into a fierce and uncontrollable being. Xia King bites down hard, splitting the centipede in half. But the centipede uses its ability called Earth Dragon Division and divides itself, continuing to attack Xia King. The more she hits it, the more centipedes appear. Seeing that Xia King is in trouble, her companions decide to help her. However, Xia King refuses their help, as she had been cultivating diligently alongside the Lion King day and night. Today was the moment to test the results. Using her demonic energy, she transforms into a dragon. She breathes out dragon breath, delivering a powerful energy blast that manages to hit the centipede. Her companions are amazed at her power. They start discussing how she used to sleep in the Lion King's cave to take advantage of the demonic aura to cultivate her power. While they argue, the system levels up the Lion King. Meanwhile, the wounded centipede starts to retreat from the battle, fleeing underground. Xia King begins to pursue it. The flow of energy from the mountain was below the ground. The source of the Lion King's power was connected to the Lion Mountain. If this flow was destroyed, the consequences would be devastating. The Lion King orders all his subordinates to go underground to chase after the centipede. Xia King tells him that the centipede escaped because it was a creature that lived underground and could sense the direction through its skin, while her olfactory sensors were being interfered with by the spiritual energy from the ground. The Lion King decides to use his demonic consciousness ability. He could feel that this underground spiritual current was connected to his spine. He orders everyone to dig until they reach the bottom of the earth to find the centipede. After walking for a while, they reach an area where the sensation was similar to that in the lion's cave. As they progress further, they come across the body of the centipede, which had been killed. And behind the centipede's body stands a woman holding a red umbrella. Her name is Kai Luo, and she was waiting for their arrival. All of Xingji's subordinates had been killed by Kai Luo. Kai Luo apologizes, saying she didn't want to waste food but couldn't eat anymore. Xingji becomes angry upon hearing this and activates his wild power, preparing to attack Kai Luo with 10,000 jin. Kai Luo stops his attack with her power, telling him he was overestimating his strength. The clever fox Ziyu and the chatty bird decide to help Xing. The talkative bird uses its ability, the Great World, and shoots its energy-covered feathers while Ziyu uses his shadow-hidden ability, both attacking Kai Luo. However, she stops their attacks with her umbrella using the Miss Claw ability. She quickly attacks Xingji, thinking they were just a group of mindless beasts. But she underestimated the Lion King, mistaking him for a sick cat, believing he was just a small, insignificant kitten. The Lion King uses his Roar of the Lion ability and attacks Kai Luo, but she blocks the attack with her umbrella and the indestructible golden ability. However, the Lion King's roar was too powerful and Kai Luo's umbrella couldn't withstand its force. Her umbrella was destroyed, but her benevolent energy remained. Kailuo realizes that the Lion King is too powerful and cannot defeat him head-on, so she decides to attack his subordinates. She uses the Devouring Earth ability like a tiger, and her umbrella generates energy hurricanes, hitting the Lion King's subordinates. Slowly, she starts absorbing them, and when the umbrella is directed at the Lion King, Xia King steps in front and takes the impact. Seeing Xia King injured, Xingji tries to stop the umbrella with his Thousand Jin Fall ability. At this moment, the Lion King's past is shown when he was just a cub. It was the first time they had managed to drive away the clan of hyenas. Xingji asks him why he always threw himself into every fight. The little Lion King replies that he was destined to protect his subordinates. Upon hearing this, Xingji only thought about advancing alongside him. Back in the present, the Lion King is furious because Kailuo had taken away his family. He starts unleashing all his power, causing space to distort and immobilizing Kailuo. The Lion King attacks the umbrella with a strong bite. The bones of the umbrella were made from an ancient divine tree, and no one could destroy it. Seeing that her umbrella is about to be destroyed, Kailuo tells the Lion King that if he damages the umbrella, he will never see his companions again. Upon hearing this, he stops attacking. She could control all creatures of the heavens and earth with her Hongjin Kaienkan umbrella. The furious Lion King demands her to release his companions. She replies that if he wanted to see them again, he needed to lick her feet. The Lion King was strong in battle, but to survive in this environment, he had to be intelligent and master the skill of metamorphosis, as he couldn't transform into a human form. Now it was impossible for him to open the umbrella to release his friends. She moved her foot closer to him so that he could lick it. At that moment, the king began to remember his friends. She advised him to hurry because if he took too long, his friends would turn into blood. What she didn't know was that the king had an ace up his sleeve. Suddenly, the Lion King's clone appeared from behind and removed the umbrella. At that moment, she realized she had fallen into his trap. Su Ling and Xiao Kao returned back with the clone, and they had captured Mei Fox and the girl who had infiltrated the headquarters. The clone realized that by opening the red umbrella, he could free his subordinates. She tried to stop him. He opened the umbrella, and she began to feel pain. It was difficult for the clone to open the umbrella because it was tightly closed, but he gradually succeeded in opening it. The more he opened the umbrella, the more pain Kailuo felt. After exerting effort for a while, the clone finally managed to open the umbrella, and the king's trapped subordinates were released. Then the system notified him that the time for using the Yang fragment had ended, and the clone disappeared. Xiao Kao approached everyone to check if they were injured. She gave the good news to the king by confirming that they were only unconscious. Kailuo didn't expect the Lion King to be so powerful. She had never encountered such a powerful demon beast before. In the hundreds of years since she had become a demon beast, this was the first time someone had opened her umbrella so easily. She understood the gravity of the situation and quickly retreated since she couldn't currently confront the lion. She intended to return after devouring more demon beasts and increasing her power. The king knew that if he let her escape, more problems would arise. He ordered Su Ling to accompany him while Xiao Kao stayed to take care of his subordinates. Both of them went to pursue Kailuo. After a few minutes, she reached the cave's exit and began to fly. The king activated his power and tried to fly after her, but at that moment, he realized he couldn't fly and fell to the ground. Kailuo started mocking him for being unable to fly. Enraged, the king used his ability called Golden Flame Bite and launched a powerful lion-shaped flame towards her. She narrowly dodged it at the last second and realized that the Lion King still had many tricks up his sleeve. Her best option now was to get away from him for a while. Quickly, she bid farewell to the king and left. She had a loose tongue because she could hide her malignant energy, and even with the king's ability to detect demons, he couldn't locate her. Su Ling couldn't do much either. She couldn't fly even after converting her body into Yang. If she had known this, she wouldn't have chosen her current Yang body, and she wouldn't have entered the stone sarcophagus. Suddenly, she began to hear a voice, a familiar voice. It was the same voice she had heard in the sarcophagus. She had obtained her Yang body after accepting the sarcophagus's inheritance, but at that time, she had heard many words and couldn't remember their order. After a while, those words came back to her. Those words were the living words technique. She had obtained her Yang body thanks to the formula of the living words inside the sarcophagus. The living words technique was not irreversible, so she used the technique again and transformed into a yin spirit. She told the Lion King that she had remembered the technique inside the sarcophagus and could now freely alternate between the Yang body and the yin spirit. She asked him to let her pursue Kailuo. The Lion King told her that the sarcophagus's inheritance was not easy, it required constant stimulation and remembering the techniques to fully receive the inheritance. Seeing that she could use the living words technique, the Lion King gave her a drop of blood to protect herself from the red umbrella. Seeing that the king trusted her, she wanted to do everything in her power to meet his expectations. In the blink of an eye, she caught up to Kailuo and attacked her with the dagger that the king had given her. However, at that moment, Kai Luo sensed her energy and blocked the attack using her umbrella. Despite the umbrella being very resilient, Su Ling's dagger had managed to damage it. It was a strange day for Kai Luo. She had faced a golden lion with immense cultivation level, and now a simple devil had been able to damage the fabric of her umbrella. Su Ling clarified that the dagger in her hands had been made from the fang of the Lion King, so there was no possibility that a simple umbrella spirit could withstand it. Angry, Kai Luo used her ability called the Universe within the umbrella and absorbed Su Ling. She crashed onto the ground in the infinite space inside the umbrella of the ancient city. Looking around, she realized she had been sucked into a dimensional space, and inside the space, it was raining. The mist and rain had corrosive properties that were dissipating her spiritual energy. She quickly realized that it was not very convenient to stay in this dimensional space for long, so she tried to escape. After moving a few meters, she came across the bodies of other spiritual beasts that were being dissipated by something strange. She had to leave that space immediately. After advancing for a few minutes, she returned to the same place where the beast was being dissipated. Her suspicions were correct. Escaping from that place was not going to be easy. The most dangerous places were often the safest. Seeing that advancing through the ancient city was getting her nowhere, she tried to escape through the sky. She quickly reached the sky, but as she approached it, she encountered the same wall of beasts. And then, she fell to the ground. Now, gravity had changed, the sky had become the ground, and the ground had become the sky. She realized that everything was under Kai Luo's control. Desperate, she tried to provoke Kai Luo into coming out to fight her, but no matter how much she insisted, she didn't appear, and gradually, the rain was dissipating her energy. The Lion Mountain companions had been freed when the Lion King opened the umbrella. If no one came to rescue her, she had no way out of this dimensional space. Tears in her eyes, she took out the drop of blood that the king had given her and apologized for letting him down. At that moment, both the dagger and the drop of blood began to rise into the sky and merged into a new dagger. This dagger grew larger and transformed into a sword. She had always tried to help the king, but in the end, it was always he who saved her. A moment ago, she had even considered giving up. Disappointed in herself, she attacked the wall using the power of the sword. Upon impact, the wall started to take damage. At that moment, she understood that the various manifestations of the previous umbrella were not its true form. The true form was the umbrella itself. This time, she was even willing to spend all her cultivation power. She quickly remembered the inheritance that could help them survive and escape this situation. She had a duty to completely eliminate those who threatened the Lion King. Using the assassination technique, she activated the state of bloody killing. Using the blood sword, she struck the wall once more with a powerful blow. Outside, Kai Luo was already taking damage. She was surprised because Su Ling was still fighting despite the corrosive rain and mist. Inside the dimensional space, the mist and rain gradually began to disappear. She felt relief and used the icebreaker technique and attacked again with several strikes. Due to the damage, Kai Luo stopped fleeing. If she didn't get too far away, the lion could track her demonic energy again. So, she used the blood coagulation in the universe of the umbrella technique and began to summon hidden soldiers made of yin blood. These were humans and demonic beasts she had devoured. Once beings were devoured within the umbrella, she could control them with this technique. The hidden soldiers began to advance towards Su Ling, and the battle began. In the Lion Mountain, the system notified the Lion King that his bonded spirit had entered an overloaded state. Using the demonic consciousness of universal communication, he tried to contact Su Ling. After trying several times, she still didn't respond. She had remembered a new inheritance, and this inheritance was deeply inscrutable. However, her current level of cultivation was very low, and if she couldn't control and guide herself properly, there could be a serious problem. Inside the umbrella, Su Ling had dealt with all the hidden soldiers made of yin blood. Despite killing many, she felt it wasn't enough. She still wanted to keep killing. Kai Luo couldn't keep using the rest of her demonic energy as it was slowly depleting, so her best option now was to give up on absorbing Su Ling. With her remaining demonic power, she began to dismantle the universe within the umbrella. Near the Lion Mountain, a group of awakened beings was heading toward the mountain. They had come to stop the Kaiying group, which had made a corrupt alliance with officials and businessmen to take away their development project. The leader of the construction company's exploration team was a man named Bingpo. An awakened being of Class C, he knew that the second recovery of spiritual energy had begun, so they were planning to seize the opportunity to compete for resources. The government had already awarded the mountain project to the Kaiying group, so if they were discovered, they would be in serious trouble. Since the recovery of spiritual Kai, demonic beasts had become prominent, and there were many awakened beings. The government had long ceased to exist, so any development group could use its military power to dominate. As they approached the mountain, they saw Su Ling, who had escaped from Kai Luo's umbrella. Seeing her, Bingpo thought she was from the Kaiying group and ordered his group to deal with her. Using the ice crystallization ability, He attacked Su Ling, but just before his strike landed, she cut his hand with her sword. Seeing this, the entire group advanced towards her for revenge, but in the blink of an eye, Su Ling had ended the lives of all of them. With her hands covered in blood from killing all the awakened beings, she began to feel that the blood smelled very good. The Lion King arrived and warned her that if she tasted human blood, there would be no turning back. But she didn't listen at all and was willing to taste the blood. Just before she could try it, the Lion King used the roar of the lion to knock her out. Using his tail, he picked up her body. He didn't want her to face unnecessary dangers. However, during the second recovery of spiritual energy, there would be changes, especially for his bonded spirit. To survive, she could only become stronger to have means of self-protection. With more people coveting the Lion Mountain, this was the signal for the Lion King to start taking action. He picked up Su Ling's body and headed towards the Lion Mountain. On the way, she woke up and apologized for letting the umbrella spirit escape. The king comforted her by saying that the umbrella spirit issue had already been resolved. She was relieved to hear this, as she had been of use to the king after all. Having a system allowed the Lion King to do as he pleased, although he had let the original spirit of the umbrella girl escape. At the moment he was chasing the girl, the system warned him that it had detected a strange object between his teeth. When he removed this object from his teeth, he realized it was a piece of the red umbrella's fabric. He wondered if he could use this piece of fabric to track the spirit. The umbrella spirit was an expert at hiding her demonic energy in physical form, so she couldn't be detected with spiritual perception either. At that moment, an idea occurred to the king. Using the sacred fire heart technique called living fire of manifestation destruction, he destroyed the fabric. But to his surprise, the umbrella spirit could infinitely repair herself. The embroidered silk fragment from Kainkan had powerful vitality. Even if it was separated from the original form, it could still maintain a connection with her. Kai Luo didn't know that the king possessed the living fire ability. Now, he had full control over her, so leaving her alive meant she could still be used for his other purposes. In the Lion King's cave, the king's subordinates were happy that the king had brought them women as appetizers. Both women were scared, and Shuang thought they would torture her to extract information. The Lion King returned to the cave and told her that the exploration team from the Giant Construction Corporation had suffered total annihilation at the foot of the Lion Mountain, and the killer was the umbrella demon currently in the ruins. Shuang couldn't believe it and couldn't help but shed tears. The king told her that when he arrived at the scene, everyone was already dead, and the umbrella demon had also escaped. Not everyone had been annihilated, there was still one survivor, and that survivor was Su Ling. Using telepathy, she asked him when she had become her friend. The king explained that all the factions were focusing on the Lion Mountain, so he needed a pair of eyes in the human world. Now that she had regained her young body, there was no one more suitable for this task. She had to gather information about the ruins, the genetic body, and the Giant Construction Group. If necessary, she could confront them at the right time. Shuang rushed to hug her. She remembered Su Ling as her friend due to the continuous hypnosis of the endless talking parrot. She was willing to fulfill her new mission, so she decided to descend from the mountain. Upon hearing this, May Fox was confused because both of them could descend the mountain. She was also confused about what to do. The Lion King ordered his subordinates to tie her up because she was going to help him practice the sacred art of fire. Tonight, they were going to practice dual cultivation. She was like a portable charger for the king. Just before Su Ling and Shuang descended the mountain, the king stopped them and told them they could share the golden fruits. The golden fruit tree had already fallen, so it was a waste not to eat the golden fruits. Therefore, all the mountain's companions were entitled to a share. Not only the golden fruits, but also all the spiritual flowers and herbs grown on the Lion Mountain were going to be distributed. He ordered everyone to maximize their cultivation during the second reactivation of the spiritual aura and expand the territory of the Lion Mountain. A few days later, under the leadership of Liu Fan, the entire Lion Mountain mobilized and carried out a powerful and energetic campaign to expand their territories. The Lion Legion was invincible in battle and quickly wiped out numerous beasts and monster tribes in the surrounding area. Not only did the territory grow larger, but the number of subordinates who were subjugated also increased, doubling Liu Fan's power. The Lion Mountain had expanded by about 47.5 kilometers, and the system rewarded the king with a bunch of points. It also granted him 2 new awakened abilities, the Broken Rock Palm and the Earthquake Shake. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before all his meridians were completely cleared. On the other hand, with Shuang's help, Su Ling had infiltrated the Kaingshan group under the identity of a spy from the Jianggong Corporation. To the south of the Lion Mountain, 60 kilometers across the river, lay the White Tiger Mountain. The turtle told its king that to the south, the Lion Mountain had been very restless lately, constantly expanding its territory and gradually encroaching on the borders of the White Tiger Mountain. The crane offered to strike and devour them instantly if given the order. Everyone wanted to take advantage of the second reactivation of the spiritual aura. The white tiger told them that receiving gifts without giving anything in return was a lack of courtesy, so now it was their turn to give them a little gift. The system rewarded the king with 2 body fragments and raised the level of the accumulation strengthening skill, the energy manipulation skill, and the earthquake shock skill by 1 level each. If he could level up further, he might be able to fully unlock all the energy accumulation and endurance skills of the mountains, as well as obtain more body fragments. Suddenly, the system alerted him that the Bayou territory had been lost. This was strange because they had just expanded their territory, and now it was lost. The king quickly asked the bear if everything was alright. The bear assured him that everything was under control, and there were no signs of enemies in the area. This was very strange, and he suspected that the system was malfunctioning and trying to deceive him. To clear his doubts, he went to check what was happening. Upon reaching Dongyu, he found all his subordinates there. The system warned him again that the Ziyu territory was being invaded by an enemy. The king quickly realized that the enemy was moving at great speed. Although he couldn't fly, he didn't think there was any demon beast in the Lion Mountain faster than him. The enemy was someone who was nearby but hidden and used a distraction to draw attention and attack another territory. However, it was very suspicious because the king didn't feel any demonic presence. He realized that if the enemy wasn't in the sky or on the ground, they could only be underground. Using his power, he scanned the area and sensed a lot of rats. With a powerful strike, he broke the earth into pieces, causing the rats to emerge from the ground. These rats were the culprits behind everything. The Lion Mountain soil was teeming with rats, which was very unusual because originally there weren't so many rats in the Lion Mountain. The rats became furious and started to attack. The bear and the chatty parrot eliminated a few, and the snake devoured hundreds of them. But no matter how many rats she devoured, it seemed they had no end. Realizing that they stood no chance alone, suddenly all the rats started to gather together, forming a giant rat. The rat began to damage the forest and the trees. Seeing this, the bear got angry and tried to attack, but the power difference was too great, and the giant rat sent him flying with a single blow. Furious, the king used his breath and fired a powerful burst. This blast easily pierced through the giant rat's body. In the distance, the white tiger had already realized that the king possessed immense destructive power. Due to the blast, the giant rat's body began to disintegrate, and all the rats that formed its body started burrowing underground. Although these rats have little demonic strength individually, their numbers were vast. If these rats touched the spiritual currents of the mountain, the king would be in trouble. The rats were starting to spread throughout the underground of the mountain. The white tiger had heard rumors that said the Lion King was so powerful that he could even lift the entire Lion Mountain. The king used his power again and broke the earth once more, but his attacks were no longer effective because the rats had already dug deep. The king's subordinates, along with Zio King, formed a team to go after the rats. The king tried to warn Zio King that it was futile due to the sheer number of rats. Pursuing them now was like searching for a needle in a haystack. She didn't listen and ventured in without a second thought because her family of green snakes had special knowledge about mountain mice. Despite the fact that mice were social animals, they didn't consciously unite to achieve a goal. When they were hunted, they simply fled by nature, only being individuals obsessed with reproduction. The only way these rats could work together in such a coordinated manner was if this colony was led by the Rat King. The bear was confused since the Rat King had been eliminated by the lion a while ago. She clarified that he wasn't the king but merely had an ability that allowed them to merge their bodies. They needed to eliminate the Rat King to stop the onslaught. Among all the rats, there was one with enormous size, and upon seeing its size, she thought he was the king. Using her venomous ability, she bit the rat, and after a while, the venom took effect, and the rat died. They realized he wasn't the Rat King. The Rat King was very cunning and was hiding his presence to control the onslaught. After a few minutes, some rats had reached the spiritual roots of the mountain and began feeding on them. Gradually, they started absorbing spiritual power and mutating. The system alerted the king that his roots were being damaged, and his power was decreasing. He quickly ordered the bear to bring May Fox. The bear took her out of the cave, and she was annoyed because, despite bothering her every night, she now had to endure them during the day as well. The bear told her that the Lion Mountain had been invaded by the mice, and the Lion King wanted her to find the Rat King using her powers. She refused, as it was impossible. Upon hearing this, the king asked her to help him awaken his powers again, assuring her that this time it wouldn't be life-threatening, as he was now in his beast form. With no other option, she agreed, and using her powers, she posed sensually, and the king began to awaken his power, gradually gaining control over it. After awakening his power, his body connected to the Lion Mountain, and the spiritual roots became like his veins. Using the ability of the sacred fire heart, he transferred his energy to the spiritual veins, causing all the rats near the veins to ignite. The white tiger felt the veins and knew that the rats were being damaged, but he had other plans in mind. The true fears of the mountain rats were just beginning. Despite taking damage, the rats still followed their king and started doing the reproduction act and started biting the roots again. Thanks to the king's power, they began reproducing at a rapid pace. The king tried to communicate with his subordinates, but they were underground, making it impossible for his communication power to reach so far. They needed to eliminate all the rats. If even one rat remained alive, it could reproduce infinitely. His only option to win now was to unlock his special technique. Therefore, using his skill points, he unlocked the ability called Demon's Power. This ability allowed him to attack enemies within a 1 kilometer radius regardless of the environment. He quickly used this ability, which caused all living beings within a 1 kilometer radius to lose consciousness. It not only affected the rats but also his own allies. Xiao King emerged from the ground, and this power had no effect on her since she used to sleep near the king. Some days, the Lion King emitted the same power, so now she was immune to it. She prepared to go in search of the Rat King again, but just before that, the lion stopped her. Despite having an ability that allowed him to perceive demonic power, he was unable to distinguish her power. The mice had already invaded the entire mountain, and his power only allowed him to temporarily incapacitate them. So, combining his two special abilities and his human brain, he realized that the root of this problem was in the White Tiger Mountain. Both of them headed towards the White Tiger to declare war. As they got closer, the White Tiger sensed their power and alerted all his subordinates to prepare for battle. After walking for a few kilometers, the Lion King finally encountered the White Tiger. Just by looking at the king, the White Tiger realized that he was an extraordinarily strong rival. Seeing the tiger with his subordinates, the lion realized that he had already prepared for this battle. Both of them released their auras, colliding and creating a massive explosion. This aura was so powerful that it wiped out several of their subordinates, leaving only the tiger, the tortoise, and the crane. The battle between the two sides began. The tiger leaped and attempted to attack the lion. Just before his strike landed, the lion counterattacked, sending him flying several meters backward. The tiger was surprised to see a lion capable of such a move. Initially, lions were submissive beings who were easily defeated. What he didn't know was that the Lion King was so powerful thanks to his system and that he had been a human in the past. The tiger re-engaged in combat and delivered a powerful blow. The tiger possessed the same strength as the Lion King. After receiving this attack, the lion struck back with incredible speed and a fierce battle began. This was the first time the king faced such a formidable opponent. Each time the tiger struck the lion, it felt like hitting steel. While both fought, Xiao King could only watch from a distance since this was a battle she couldn't interfere in. But she gathered her courage and wanted to help the king. Using her power, she transformed into the ice dragon and fired a powerful blast toward the tiger. To her surprise, just before the blast could hit the tiger, the green turtle appeared and stopped the attack. Then the crane appeared, flying, and attacked her with a strong ability called the Red Storm, causing her considerable damage. The king realized that she was in danger. While he was distracted, the white tiger appeared from behind and delivered a powerful blow. At the beginning of this battle, the king was only using 50% of his power, yet the tiger was able to match his strength. He opened the system window and realized that his power was sealed. The tiger asked him if he had been afraid earlier, as opponents who started to fear him were never able to defeat him. This was thanks to his special ability. This was the ability he had awakened after many years. If at any point his opponents began to feel fear, they were never able to defeat him. All of the lion's attributes were blocked due to the tiger's debuff. Seeing this, the lion tried to keep his distance to recover his power. But what he didn't know was that the white tiger could fly thanks to his ability to generate wings, and in the blink of an eye, he reached the lion and began to strike him fiercely. Despite his attributes being blocked, the system was constantly granting him points for blocking the white tiger's attacks. Xiao King, seeing the king in danger, tried to help him, but the turtle expelled some kind of slime that spread across the ground and slowly began to trap her. Seeing her body being ensnared, she started to fly and managed to escape from his ability. Her demonic ability was far superior to that of the turtle. Quickly, the crane appeared again and used an energy cannon to pierce Xiao King's tail. This blow was so powerful that it could penetrate diamonds. Currently, he was the second strongest on the Tiger Mountain. On the other hand, the turtle was the strongest shield. Its shell could block any attack. Faced with these two, she had no chance of winning. Seeing the situation, she used her best move. Using her breath, she created a hallucinogenic cloud against the crane. While the turtle was distracted by the cloud, she appeared and wrapped herself around the turtle's body and began to bite its shell. The turtle laughed at her and said that its shell was indestructible. In the blink of an eye, she flipped the turtle's body over and tied it up with her own snake tail. Then she released more hallucinogenic clouds. While flying in the sky, the crane realized that the turtle was in danger as the snake had wrapped its body. It quickly descended to help. What the crane didn't see was that the one bound was its own partner with its own tail. Using its sharp beak and the speed of descent, it pierced the turtle's throat and ended its life. The illusion's effect ended, and the crane realized that it had ended the life of one of its allies. Taking advantage of the situation, Xiao King used the energy blast and ended the life of the crane, which was trapped in the turtle's slime. After finishing both of them off, she tried to help the king. Just before she could act, she collapsed due to exhaustion from the transformation. The lion was enveloped in an energy dome while the tiger tried to break it. Despite having his attributes blocked, he was able to use all his abilities. The white tiger was furious because the lion was very special. All the other creatures they had encountered, who had felt fear, were completely subjected to his control. He was different from the rest. Even though his power had decreased, he showed no fear whatsoever. The lion asked if he also possessed a system, and the tiger didn't know what he was talking about. Furious, he used his best technique, and thunderclouds filled the sky. No one had ever been able to dodge or withstand this technique. He activated the technique, and a powerful lightning bolt struck the Lion King. This lightning was so strong that it created a crater in the ground. To his surprise, the king's body was enveloped in a sphere of spiritual energy. The white tiger thought that the king had fused into this sphere. This sphere of power rose, and the king emerged from the sphere with a new form. That sphere of power was the demon's pearl. By obtaining the pearl, the system unlocked the demon elixir for him. Just before the white tiger's celestial lightning struck the lion, he tried to use a mountain transmitter to create a barrier and channel the electrical current into the earth. At that moment, the system asked if he wanted to use this electrical energy to fill the demon elixir. He quickly realized that his blocked attributes had been stored to cultivate the demon elixir. This was the perfect moment to fill the demon elixir. He didn't expect that his celestial attack would completely fill the energy of his elixir, allowing him to manifest it directly. The white tiger was angry and intended to exact his revenge by taking the lion's life. While the lion spoke, the tiger delivered a powerful blow that sent him crashing to the ground. After a few seconds, the lion got up. But even though he had obtained the demon elixir, his attributes remained blocked. This was because he had felt fear for a moment, so the power of the tiger had already taken effect, and now he was an obedient slave. The tiger used his lightning attack against him again, but this time the lion blocked the attack using the pearl, and the lightning no longer affected him. Using the pearl, he created spiritual roots that trapped the tiger, and then he used the fire ability to finish him off. The tiger was on the verge of losing this battle between the two kings, but just then, in the distance, he saw the Rat King. Upon waking up, the Rat King ordered the rats to destroy the spiritual roots of the lion's mountain. Due to the loss of energy, the lion began to weaken. The white tiger understood that the mountain and he were connected, so if the mountain suffered damage, he was also harmed. The lion approached the rat and asked if he was truly the Rat King. A long time ago, one day, Xiao King was chasing a mouse through the mountain. This mouse, fleeing for its life, reached the lion's cave and, taking advantage of the fact that the king was sleeping, hid in his bed. Due to the commotion, he woke up and asked Xiao King what was going on. She told him that a mouse had hidden in his bed. After searching for a while, he finally found the mouse that had hidden in his mane. Seeing that he had caught the rat, she told him that he now had the right to devour his prey.